Are you hiding who you are? Well, stop it, because today we've got a fabulous panel of guests who are going to be helping you to be able to dive into the beautiful, messy journey of discovering who you really are and cultivate the confidence to be you. So let's talk. Oh, and welcome to the Fab Show, where we explore our fabulous lives. I am Gloria Grace Rand, one of the Fab Five hosts of this show, and I want to introduce our wonderful panel of guests. And you can just go around and just share where you're coming in from today. So I'm gonna start with Kristie, and we're all gonna keep our fingers crossed today because she's having a little bit of internet issues, but I know it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fabulous. So where are you in the world today, Kristie?
Hello. I am in Tallahassee, Florida.
All right, awesome. And then next to you is Renee. So
I am in Southern California.
All right, and then down below you, you've got AmondaRose.
Hello, everyone. I am in Hutchinson Island, Stuart, Florida.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Michelle Gladieux. Where are you coming to us from?
Hi, everyone. I'm coming to you from Fort Wayne, Indiana, up in the northeast corner of Indiana.
All right, awesome. Well, I think we've got everything covered today, and I want to welcome our our digital audience, I should say. We want to hear from where you're coming from as well. So if you want to post in the comments, and also let us know if you are watching, do hashtag live or hashtag replay. And yeah, so I'm going to kick this off right and get started, because I want to be able to set the tone for us, and I'm going to play one of our speakers' videos. So we're gonna go watch that right now.
Hi, my name is Renee Reisch, and I'm so grateful to be part of this week's fabulous show. The question that was posed to me was, what is a tip that you would give somebody to be confident and to cultivate that confidence? What's something you would do? Well, that's being authentically yourself. The answer lies within the question. It's to show up as yourself. Every time you do, you will be more confident. Every step you take, every move you make, just building that confidence comes from showing up authentically, using your voice, not the voice in your head of what people think you should say or do or who you should even be, but showing up confidently. So I look forward to sharing our voices this week together and building confidence. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's fabulous show, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, and I'm gonna put you in I decided we're gonna call this the fabulous seat today, because I know sometimes people will call them hot seats, but we're gonna call it the fabulous seat. So I loved what you had to say. You know, it is so important about being ourselves. So can you share a little bit more about that, Renee?
You know, Gloria, I think it really does come from within, just like I said in the spot over there. It's about speaking your truth, your values. You don't want to be like anybody else. We always, scroll through social media looking, oh, what is that? Is that person doing? What is that person? Maybe I'll be more like that. Maybe I'll be more like. But your tribe, your people are going to migrate to you because of you, because you're who you are, and there's nobody else like you. And when you speak from that space rather than somebody else in another kind of tone, then you're going to attract the people that are meant to be with you. If you're trying to be like someone else, it's not going to work. And you're like, why do I feel stuck? It's working for that person or that person, because that's maybe who they are, but it's not you. So when you speak your truth, when you speak from your heart, you can't go wrong because it's from your heart. You can't say the wrong thing. It's how you feel. And it's okay if not everybody follows you or likes you or loves you, because that means that you're making space and room for those who are the ones who are supposed to be there.
I love that. And you've, 'cause I know I've talked to you in the past before that you come across very confident, but you weren't always able to use your voice very well, were you? Can you
No,
talk a little bit about that?
absolutely. I will share this because, I was in a space where I was working corporate America and taking care of multi-million dollar teams and departments and everybody under the sun outside of me. And I had to show up a certain way because this is my paycheck. I had expectations and responsibilities. And who I really lost track of being the most responsible for and never put her on the back burner was myself and my own voice. And as you know, and many of my followers know, I lost my voice in 2013 and was told I may never speak again. And because I was always speaking to what others wanted from me and not from my heart, I literally lost my physical voice and was in the ER twice and was told this might be permanent. And I was so contagious in 2013 that I was told I was no longer allowed to be with the public. So you think about it, no voice, no contact, no cure. And yeah, I fell into that deep, dark rabbit hole of depression. I didn't want to live anymore because, listen, there was nothing that they can do. Doctors had no cure for me. So I had a massive sore throat. I couldn't speak, eat, drink, swallow. And then after it was over, and I'm saying it kind of fast, but it took a long time. It took about a year. I had to learn to speak again. Because when I lost my voice, I lost me. And I had to learn to get the vocal cords engaged again, like a muscle. They are a muscle. When you don't work out, your muscles atrophy. Well, they weren't used for close to a year. And so they atrophied. So I had to go to a vocal coach to learn to physically speak again and do exercises for my vocal cords to re-engage them. So yeah, I mean, great question. And I didn't have confidence. I didn't have any confidence in myself because I was so concerned and consumed with what everybody else thought about me, not what I thought about me. There was no precedence in that. It was just what everybody else felt or thought. And I lost my whole voice in the process as I lost myself in the journey. So finding your voice is what I'm all about, and helping people find and use theirs is key.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to do that, and I'm sure we'll probably talk some more about as we go around. Anybody else want to comment about Renee's experience there, and either something you can maybe not directly relate to, but if you want to chime in, or I'll call on you.
Well, I will. I mean, I
Okay.
understand Renee from a different perspective. I mean, I had been at the point where I didn't care if I lived or died. And so it's a deep, dark place, but I'm so grateful that I was able to overcome that and be the person I am today. Not that I'm 100% a zillion confident all the time, but I'm so much farther than I used to be. It was a deep, dark hole I was in. And I think from everybody who's listening to this, you'll realize if you're in that deep, dark hole or semi-dark hole, you can get out of it because we all have.
Right, that's for sure. And I think that is definitely an inspirational message I want to leave. And I think on that note, I'm gonna go play another one of our videos here.
Can you imagine a confidence that is unstoppable, unblockable, unshakable, and unbreakable? No one is you, and that is your power. I often affirm to myself, powerful presence begins with acute self-awareness, being able to be free to release your brilliance and broadcast it boldly in the world is a gift that not only you give yourself, but you give to those that are in need of what you carry inside of you. I remember a simple strategy a professional speaker shared, and I use it in all of my video content creation. Say what you're going to say it emphatically, and say what you said. Now you're repeating those thoughts because we don't just want it to click, we want it to stick. Go do it.
I love that. So I'm going to put you in our whoops, let me try that again. put you in our fab seat. So I love that, and I'm going to be transparent, how I came across Kristie. We had connected on LinkedIn, and you do the most amazing videos, and it's I love this. So I'm going to say, Kristie, talk real quick, and maybe that'll keep StreamYard from changing positions. Nope, it doesn't want to. Well, maybe I need to talk to AmondaRose. I'm not sure, but go ahead, Kristie. I want to go ahead. I want to hear you. Here, you know what we'll do? We'll fix it. We'll go there for the time being. So tell me some more about that. So talk to us a little bit more especially about that part.
Yes,
when you talked about being
there
free.
are many years where I personally also I can relate. Hiding myself. And what was the question, Gloria?
Okay, I just wanted you to, if you can, talk a little bit. Well, you said that you keep going, because you said that there were many years where you were hiding yourself. So how did you find the confidence to be you, to be able to express yourself, especially because you really do express yourself quite boldly on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, connect with this lady, because she also sings in her videos too, which I love.
Yes. Yes, I often tell clients everything is a practice. And for me as an introvert, 1, 2, I have social anxiety. And then you put me in front of individuals in a large room as an introvert with social anxiety, and you're getting paid exorbitant amounts of money to deliver something powerful. Listen, you will find courage. But I often say practice makes polish makes profits. And I continue to practice to this day. I'm very selective in where I speak, because I know how much it takes out of me. 1, just to pour out my energy. 2, to confront the anxiety over and over again. Public speaking is in the top 3 fears that individuals have. And I literally live courageously every single day using my voice.
That's amazing. Well, thank you. And I know just we have a slight lag because of the internet, but I'm glad you're able to be here and share your thoughts with us today. Anyone else, maybe Michelle or Renee or AmondaRose, want to comment about that?
I'll comment about what Kristie just told us. I'm an executive coach, and I was an adjunct professor for 18 years at 3 universities here in Indiana. I'm a Purdue University grad, and my master's thesis was all about conflict management and teaching conflict management, how to help people be more courageous in challenging conversations. And something Kristie said struck a chord with me. She mentioned acute self-awareness, and I thought that was a great way to put it. Mm-hmm. When we get really good at communication, or even if we're just trying to get really good at communication, life becomes so much less complicated and more joyful. I should say more fabulous today, right? That's our show. So life is more fabulous when you are working on yourself as a communicator, but you can't just start with, hey, everyone, I am 100% formed as a communicator, and here's what I think, and just blurt it out there. There is something to be said for loving your authentic self, and absolutely, we are all where we should be in the journey of becoming great communicators, or towards great. But we also have to study where our weaknesses are in communication. Where could we be a better public speaker? Where do our emails need some work with better business writing? Do we need listening skills? Do we interrupt? Do we fail to think about how our personality differs from others and then try to adjust our approach to match others' personality, or at least to vibe with others' personalities? So I want to mention Kristie's acute self-awareness again as an important point, and encourage our listeners today, our viewers today, to find a way to take a robust, valid, reliable personality assessment. And that way you can see how you're showing up in the world, and also where sometimes you might be overusing some of your strengths. So towards self-awareness, let's figure out what our gifts, our natural gifts are, and then be brave enough to look at how those can create weaknesses. And then stir in the courage with that, and you will become someone who has a more joyful, less complicated life.
I love that. And I'm just going to... Hopefully, I did see a comment that someone had written that down, but just as a hint to anyone else. So that's so cool. Yeah, because it is we communicate in so many different ways, but we do have to find, and we still have to develop that confidence to communicate as ourselves as well, and to be able to be sometimes be a little bold and fierce, in order to make it work. So I love that. And I'm going to go, because I think this is a good segue as well, because I'm going to go ahead and play AmondaRose's video as well, because she knows about this stuff too.
Hey, it's AmondaRose Igoe. Most people would look at me and think there's no way AmondaRose would have challenges communicating. She's a speaker and she's trained on speaking. There's no way. But if you had met me many years ago, I was the queen of ahs and ums, and it just slices and dices up communication. I had nervous laughter, so I giggle after everything I said. And I had zero confidence. The negative voice in my head was constantly going off and telling me how bad I was. So the reality is, I changed it, and you could too. And I'm excited to share with you exact steps that I took that changed my communication challenges, changed my confidence, and changed how I show up in the world.
All right, so I'm going to put you up back in here. So yeah, so talk to us a little bit more about, because I think all of you have really talked about the importance of being able to start to be more confident, but I'm not sure we've totally nailed down how do we start really doing that. So I wonder if you could share a little bit about that, AmondaRose.
I'm happy to. Most people don't know this about me, is that I was a really shy, quiet little girl. And so as I grew up, I went to college, I got a degree in social work. I got burnt in social work just because it is a hard, heavy type career. And I took a job with a nonprofit, and they didn't tell me I'd have to speak in front of hundreds of people. I had no speaking experience, horrible communicator, ahs and ums, nervous laughter, all the things that I shared, and I was uncomfortable in social situations. Like, why would you ever ask me to speak in front of people? But I like to say my mother didn't raise a quitter. And so I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out, because I could quit the job. I had every reason to do it. And I started to learn about the art of speaking, because there's art. There's an art to communicating out your ideas. There's an art to showing up more confident. And when I started to learn the art of speaking, it really evolved for me. And so let me share with you some of the things that I learned. So to overcome those ahs and ums, which I mentioned, kind of like slice and dice in communication, you want to first acknowledge when you do it. 2, you want to acknowledge that what situations, like how often do you do it? And the 3rd, really simple, is replace those ahs and ums with filler words, because that's all an ah or is a filler word. Your mind's just trying to think about the next thing it's going to say. So you just stop that. And I'm sorry, I'm going to rephrase what I said. You're going to replace those ahs and ums with pauses. And if you listen to me communicating, I pause a lot, don't I? And the reason being, it allows people to take in the information instead of drilling out all this information. And the other thing that I did is I really started to focus on, to help me overcome my own fear of what people were thinking about me, I started to focus on why this message was so important. I focused on how it was going to serve the nonprofit, how it was going to help other people, why they needed to hear more about it. And when I took the focus off of myself, my confidence soared. It grew because it was no longer about me, it was more about them. And so all those ahs and ums and nervous laughter, all those things just kind of started to fall away. And I was in that job for 5 years, and I've been a speaking strategist for 21 years this year. And so it just tells you that if I can overcome these challenges, anyone can, because I tell you, I was bad at it, really bad at it.
You're not bad at it anymore. And there were some great tidbits there. So I hope everybody is writing them down because, yeah, the power of the pause, which I just did right now, because I know that I do have a tendency in the past, I'll say, I'm better at being able to pause and think before you speak, because it really does. And it helps you not only I think with the confidence that AmondaRose maybe talk about this, but it really helps you to gather your thoughts so that you can communicate more effectively. And I know I'm going to have Michelle's video coming up here shortly too, because she's got some great tidbits there.
So, Gloria, may I share one more thing? So when you pause, your mind is really fast. Your mind is going to figure out what the heck is coming up next if you give it a moment. So all those little words like so's, the ends, you know it, like that, all those are things are just as you're not giving your mind an opportunity to figure out what's coming next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else want to chime in and piggyback on that? Renee?
I will on that one, because it's very important. We do hear about the power of the pause, and to Joy's point about our brain waves, because while we're gathering our thought for the next thing, it also allows your listeners to absorb what you've just said. So it's a twofold thing that's going on right there, because your brain is going to what you're going to say next. You get to pause and gather your thoughts while your listeners are really taking in what you just said, because you may have rehearsed it 10, 50 times, 100 times over, so you're ready to go to the next thing. But in the meantime, you must allow your audience to take in and absorb what you said, because it is powerful. And then they are preparing for the next thing you're going to say. It keeps them on the edge of their seats, like, oh, that was incredible. And so now what is she going to say? So while you're doing your work, they're taking it in as that student and listening and absorbing what you're going to say next and ready to say next. So it really is the power of the pause. It is very, very powerful.
And this can be just in interpersonal relationships as well. When you're having a conversation, with a friend or with a significant other as well. Don't just, because I don't want our audience to think that it's just, that we're talking about, doing public speaking, but these are tips that anybody can use at any time, right? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna share Michelle's video down here too, because she also has some great stuff.
Today I want to share one of my favorite recipes to make, and I try to make this recipe every single day of my life. It's a recipe for praise, and it can help you become more confident as a communicator at the same time that you're lifting other people up around you. It's a great way to gain confidence and to use your voice, whether you are writing, texting, or speaking to someone. This is a recipe that will help you get some practice with communicating what you'd like to see more of and what you appreciate in others. So here we go. Step 1 of the recipe is to use the person's name. Then they know that the praise is not general, but rather individual. The second step in this recipe is to cite what you appreciate or admire about this person. What do you see in them that you wish you had? Or what do they bring to the table that makes your family better, or your relationship more enjoyable, or your workplace a better place to be? Step 3, you go a little deeper and you explain why it is that you admire or appreciate this trait or this behavior in the person, so that they can really imagine themselves in their mind's eye as you see them. This gives them a lift in their day, a bit of sunshine in their day, and it also makes you feel good as you're gaining confidence to practice using your voice more as a communicator. Step 4 is easy. Step 4 is simply to say thank you, or great job, or I appreciate you, keep up the good work, high five, you rock, etc. in your own way. So as you end the communication, the voicemail, the email, however you choose to deliver this praise, you're going to do it in the medium that you prefer, and you're getting practice as a communicator, building confidence. Try it today and lift someone's day up.
So I love that, because I didn't really think about, the importance of praise to help you to be more confident in speaking. So yeah, talk about that a little bit more, Michelle, because I thought that was so great.
Sure. Well, my favorite recipes, when I go to make lunch or dinner, it's always 3 or 4, 5 ingredients at most. I like those cookbooks that are 4 ingredients or less. So when I teach communication skills, I try to create recipes that folks who are trying something new or trying to do something better can check out, like 4 steps to praise or 6 steps towards effective delegation. And I just find that there are so many opportunities to praise people around us that we miss, all of us miss throughout a given day. Researchers are saying that most of us make a couple thousand decisions a day. And often I find like I'll think to myself, like, wow, that server at the restaurant is just amazing and did such a good job memorizing orders or handling this big table of folks here for a meeting. I think it, but in the past, I haven't taken the time to say it. And I think there are opportunities all around us for us to practice using our voices in ways that are win-win, because we can also lift someone else up. If we just stay a few extra minutes to say good job and then specifically why and what we admire or appreciate. Everyone appreciates a thank you, but it's even more impactful when we state the behavior that we'd like to see more of or that we wish we had in ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And I think it's not, like I said, or at least for me anyway, it didn't seem not necessarily intuitive about praising someone to help you to be more confident. But then when I also think about it right now, I'm just thinking, well, what is it? Be the change you want to see in the world. So if you're going to be more loving and giving and helping someone else, then that's going to help you in return, I think. What do you think?
Of course, sure will.
Yeah.
And I think I learned it early. Like I watched my mom at my mother's knee. I watched her use her expressive and earned confidence as a communicator. All of us have this story of kind of starting shy and then finding our voice. I definitely remember hiding behind her legs when I was, 3, 4, 5, and people would say, grown-ups would say, "Oh, hello there, Michelle. Aren't you getting big?" And I would just think, I want to disappear. Why is this stranger talking to me? And eventually I practiced a little bit more and I ran up the steps at the pulpit at church and read a reading. And then I got in the science fair and I talked about something to do with my experiments that I was excited about. And eventually I realized, even if I stutter or I forget what I was going to say, or my face turns red or my hands shake, all these things now that I've seen through executive coaching clients and college students, really, you survive it. And every time you survive some of that shakiness, that anxiety and fear lessens just a little, and sometimes imperceptibly almost. But it is the act of getting in the arena and practicing and then asking for feedback so you can be brave to hear how others think you could be better. I highly recommend getting a friend or coworker to talk with you briefly and confidentially after each meeting or after any meetings where you're going to say something. Have a confidant that knows you're working on using your voice more effectively, and then ask them to give you one piece of praise and one piece of criticism. And if you keep doing that throughout life, you will definitely become more expert.
Yeah, that's so good. And I want to just shift this slightly because it is important to have to develop confidence, and it helps you to be a better speaker, better communicator. And the other part of this, though, is to be you. And I know that, like I said at the beginning, I had this crazy mask that I made a long time ago at a wise woman's retreat. And for some reason, I guess I saw myself as like a superhero. So because that's kind of what it sort of reminds me of. But it also, some of this was a little bit of tears. And because I have in the past not always felt brave enough to let people see the real me. And especially even in my journey, in my career, I've sort of pivoted, and I talk more about spirituality than I used to when, like, for instance, when I first met AmondaRose, I was all about digital marketing. So can anybody talk a little bit more about how do we really find the confidence to really express our true selves, as opposed to, maybe showing up how other people maybe want us to be? Who wants to talk about that?
Gloria, I'm going to start off real quickly.
Okay.
It's just being around our peers. When you're around your peers who are not judgmental, who are going to love you through anything and everything, then that's going to set you up to be more confident and to be authentically you. Because when you're around people who know, love, and trust you, and there's no guard, that your guard is down, then you can just be you. And then when you start attracting, like I said earlier, more and more people, your energy, your vibration will naturally start bringing more of those people to you, because that's where you're at. then you're going to always be with those right people.
Yeah,
I think that's really key, because you want to always be able to speak from your heart and speak your truth, not what you think someone might want to hear you say. Or then you got to always worry, well, what did I tell that one? Who did I tell? Just be you. Always be you.
Absolutely. AmondaRose, I saw you were going to say something too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to share personally, I was really challenged with putting myself out there more in social, because I was so afraid of getting some haters. You know, we see it happen to people, and would somebody say negative things to me, and I just held myself back. And somebody said to me, and this was really powerful, and they said, AmondaRose, they're already holding you back, because you're not going out there and sharing what you authentically want to share. And so they're literally stopping you, and they haven't done anything, right? And so it was a pivotal moment for me. I was like, oh my gosh, they've already changed my life. And so I made a commitment to realize, and this is if it helps anybody else, is that not everyone's going to love you. I'm somebody who is always trying not just like me, but love me. And if they didn't love me, I felt like there was something wrong with me. And when I finally let that go, and I got to really just show up as myself, who I am in every aspect of my life, all day long on social and when I'm speaking with my clients, people really resonated with me, because they could feel I was being truly authentic and being who I was. And so people are going to resonate more with you when you're not hiding something, because if you're hiding something, a part of yourself, they're going to feel it. And so this way they get to really feel who you are. And if they don't love you for who you are, they don't belong in your life. It's time for them to go.
So true. Absolutely. And I know that's definitely a lesson I had to learn as well. Yeah. And I like this, I went, oh dear, see. I still do it too. I know I should really go to, have any of you ever done Toastmasters? Because I know supposedly they're really good at helping you break that habit of ums and ahs. I need to do the pauses, at least that AmondaRose was talking about. Renee, you were shaking your head. Is that?
I have done Toastmasters.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, I appreciate what you shared. That was so amazing, AmondaRose. So can any of you maybe share a time where you did actually display it, and I know this was good about social media, but maybe even in person, when really sharing who you are, that authentic self, felt a little risky, but it actually led to an unexpected reward. Kristie, you're shaking your head. You wanna try to chime in? You can unmute yourself. All right. Can you hear me okay, Kristie? Can you talk about that? No? Oh. All right. Anybody else want to? Oh, wait.
I can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
I'm just going to fade in the background. I am listening. It's just too many tech challenges.
Well, did you have a time where you had some unexpected rewards from, actually going ahead and sharing your authentic self? All right. Well, we'll let somebody else do it in the meantime. Anybody else want to chime in there? Nobody? Okay. Nobody's going to be brave enough. All right. Well,
Gloria, we all have a voice, and yes, we're all thinking something. Nobody wants to speak ahead of somebody else. It's really just, as I said, that was my whole thing. I didn't speak. I held back. Oops. I didn't speak my voice. I was so consumed, as I said, with what everybody else wanted, and the fear of judgment for what happens if I put myself out there and I'm not accepted. It had to do with my own acceptance of me. And I was so worried about somebody else accepting me, like giving the keys to your happiness to somebody else. And if they didn't like me, maybe they didn't respect me, maybe I didn't. It's like I took everything external. The external validation is in place of my own inner self-worth. And losing my voice, as I said earlier, was losing me. So it's a key component. It's everything I do with my clients is about helping them and finding their true authentic voice. And sometimes you don't even realize it, because on paper, And on social, everything looks great. You got it all together. Look at you. You're so wonderful. You're fabulous. Everything is great. But inside, you're like not happy with your home life or your own self-worth, and you don't feel good enough. But you're not going to go out there on social and say, who here doesn't feel good enough? It's like, really? Maybe your employer is watching. Maybe your friends. You don't want to say that. So I get into that piece of it when I do, with the work I do with women, helping them find their true voice. Because somewhere along the way, if they're not happy, they lost themselves along with it.
Well, I'm going to play contrarian with you a little bit because I mean, I do know that we want to try to keep things positive on social media, but I also feel that when you are brave enough to be a little vulnerable, of course, you're not going to share your whole sob story, but if you can share a little bit about some challenges that you have, I think it really helps others to see that, oh, well, if this person, they may hold you in high esteem, but it's like if they're managing to get through it, then maybe I can too.
You know what? I completely agree. And that's the coaching I do. The first piece of the voice blueprint is vulnerability.
Very
So
good.
you nailed it. That's exactly what I didn't want to get into it because I don't want to start talking about all the work I do. But that's the very first thing. VOIC is vulnerability. Because you've got to release those things that you're holding back because they've been stifling your own voice. Because you're so consumed and concerned with everybody's validation and acceptance. How about your own? So losing your voice and losing my own physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I lost in every which way, not realizing I had. My own confidence was with my voice, was afraid to speak my own truth. So it was a very hard and very, very painful lesson to learn. And, it's a journey and we're all on that journey. I'm still on the journey until I get called home to my next assignment. I'm going to be on that journey. So you're always on a journey to bettering yourself because we're evolving every day as our physical beings having this spiritual being having a human experience.
Absolutely. Michelle, how about you? What do you want to
I'll add, you asked
here?
Sure. You asked, how do we gain confidence? What can we think about or do to gain confidence as communicators? And one of my coworkers has talked with me as I've watched all my employees really, thankfully, become more confident, effective communicators in writing and in speaking. And when I ask them, how did you get from here to here? I've watched you grow. I hope that there's been some coaching and mentorship here. We help each other. But what specifically has helped you most? One of my coworkers said it was thinking about opportunities lost. It was when I remained safe and in the cocoon of, I don't want people to look at me. I don't want people to hear me. Maybe I shouldn't ask that question. Maybe it's not my place to offer that praise, etc. Then I end up feeling regret later. So that's something that motivates me. We all have to choose as communicators between two things. You choose to feel fear and do it anyway and try to get better as you fail forward, or choose the pain of regret that you will have later in life. And later in life could be tonight when you put your head on the pillow and you rewind and think through your day and you have those, oh, I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have asked that. Or it could be when you're a very old human and you're looking back at your life and thinking, gosh, this went so quickly. And I wish I would have used my voice more or worked on my communication more so I could have made a more positive impact in the world. So I try to remind myself I have two choices, fear or regret. And so when I'm nervous, I try to move forward into the fear. And I'm very well prepared. I've done my audience analysis. And this is something that I write about in Communicate with Courage in my book, is how to do an audience analysis, whether you're talking to one person or, as I was last November, I had the largest book keynote I've had yet. And that was a little over 1,500 people in Denver. And I was really working hard before that to imagine who would be in the audience, to ask my client that was running the event, tell me about job titles, tell me about where they're coming in from. I wanted to feel that I deeply knew the message recipients so that my message would be aimed well to be very memorable and resonant. So those are some tips. Do your audience analysis, choose between fear and regret. Opportunity lost is not a good feeling, and it might help you find your courage.
I love that. And this is actually a perfect segue for another video that I'm going to share, because we've got a dear friend of the show who wrote an amazing song that talks about legacy.
In the quiet moments, when the sun begins to rise, we find the strength within us. In the stories of our lives, not in gold or glory, but in hearts we've touched with grace, in the love we share with others, in each kind and gentle face. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. Through the trials and the triumphs, in the battles that we fight, it's the courage and the kindness that will always shine so bright. In the lessons that we teach and the dreams that we inspire, in the way we lift each other higher and higher. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held and the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. In the final song you sung, and the curtains drawing near, it's the moments filled with love that will echo year to year. In the footprints on the path that guide the lost and blind, your legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind. Your legacy is the love you leave behind, in the hands you've held, in the souls you've helped to find. It's the laughter in the children, the wisdom in the old. It's the light you sparked in others, in the stories that are told. So let's live with open hearts and give with all our might, for the legacy we leave is a beacon in the night, in the echoes of our actions, in the whispers of the wind. Our legacy of love is where it all begins. Our legacy of love is where it all begins.
Legacy will live on in the hearts you've left behind.
I know. Isn't that fabulous? Yeah, and it was, yeah, Steampunk Poe created that, and it's just so good. And I thought that was just so perfect when we were talking about the importance of, yeah, being true to ourselves, and also then being able to communicate that with others. And I made me think of one other question, or one. We still have a little bit of time left, but one question I want to ask all of you. Is there a particular, maybe a daily practice or ritual that any of you use to help you to be confident in your personal expression? So who has anything like that?
I do meditation. I meditate every morning and every night before bed. I just do grounding work. I just center myself and, get out of your head and into your heart. And that's what meditation does for me, because you got that and constantly going, right? But when you meditate and you can ground yourself and center yourself, it makes all the difference for me in how I'm going to focus my day and release the things that didn't serve me during the day and have a peaceful sleep.
Awesome. How about you, AmondaRose? Do you have anything or that you do, or even helping people, like maybe before they do have to speak?
I do, but I meditate as well. But what's coming out of my heart to share, Gloria, is something, because I remember going to a networking meeting, and I was in my car home before we had cell phones, and I had all these negative voices coming at me like constantly. You said this, you said that, you shouldn't have done this. I didn't do anything wrong. And I did something that took my power back. I told that voice to shut the F up. I'm literally screaming in my car at the top of my lungs. And I tell you, it was the first time I actually took my power back. And I was like, no, you can't do this to me anymore. You can't tell me how I should be, and I didn't do anything wrong. It was a pivotal moment for me, because it was really like, I have control over what comes through here, right? I can use it to learn where I challenges, but I also can take my power back when I need to. And I literally screamed it at the top of my lungs in the car. I looked like a crazy lady, but it made such a huge difference for me. As far as with working with my clients, I really feel like when it comes to speaking, now you have varieties of people. I always say somebody who's scared to death of speaking is never going to come to me. Like, if their fear is they need to go maybe to hypnotherapist or something and deal with those underlying reasons. But there's always some normal anxiety. It's totally normal to feel that way. The reason your adrenaline's going to rush and your heart might race a little bit and all those things might happen because you care. And if you didn't care, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. And so you would be like, oh, easy peasy. But I'll share my secret power move, which is a game changer with my clients, because I don't know, I came up with it during a yoga teacher training. I was doing yoga for my own practice, and I had to teach. I was a speaker and a coach who taught speaking. I had to teach yoga. All my stuff was coming up like crazy. And they talked about a term called Mola Bandha, which is, in normal terms, is known as a Kegel. It's that lower lock, where you do that lower lock. And it discovered, when you do that lower lock like this, you imagined you're going to urinate and stop the flow, you cannot have a negative thought at the same time. It's crazy how well it works. A simple technique like that. So if somebody's feeling anxious in a one-to-one conversation, anxious and speaking in front of a group, if you do that lower lock, you can't. You literally, your voices cannot tell you that you stink or you should do this, you should do that. You can't. It literally stops the negative chatter.
I love that. Yes, it's definitely a very good thing. And I'm just going to share another quick video here, because I've been seeing some purple hearts coming by. I like to do that to honor our friends and our folks who are near and dear to us, and who are part of the Purple Pen Club. So I just wanted to do that. Michelle, you look like you wanted to maybe chime in here a little bit. I'm gonna put you in here.
Yes, I'll chime in. Let's see. I'm thinking about a game or a goal, you might call it, that I play with my coaching clients. I see them monthly. We meet for 1 or 2 hours, and then I send 4 or 5 baby step action items to them to approve. If they approve, then they say they're going to do these things. So we've seen thousands of people in the last 25 years step up, right, as communicators. One of my favorite goals to assign is called the second voice game. And what I ask clients to do, and sometimes friends or family members, is just throughout a week, jot down some of the negative self-talk that you find going through your head. And don't judge it. Don't judge yourself. Just let's see what you're telling yourself when you're not being very kind to yourself. And then when they show up for their next coaching session, they share what they're willing to share. And we play sort of a debate game. We bring in a second voice and we see if we can factually debate what the negative self-talk is telling that person. And I've seen folks come in and say, I'm a terrible public speaker, or I'm a bad listener, or I've recently heard, sadly, I'm a bad mom. And when we really looked at what's behind that, the person who said, I'm a bad mom, what really is true is she's a busy mom who has a lot of video conferencing in the evening, and she's spending more time with her kids. So it was wonderful to see her cross off, I'm a bad mom, or for example, I'm not a good public speaker, I'm a terrible public speaker. What's more realistic and factual? Maybe I'm shaky as a public speaker. I'm not yet comfortable with my voice. I am growing. So let's try to play that second voice game and not believe the hype that sometimes we tell ourselves. When AmondaRose told herself, told her voice inside her to shut the F up, I would argue that maybe wasn't even her authentic voice that was bothering her. That was probably something picked up along the lines, who knows, in childhood, or could be later in life. But we have to kind of, in a loving way, pull away from ourselves what we're hearing from ourselves, and then let's look at that in the light and see if we can debate it factually.
Yeah, that is so true, because I know I do that too when I talk to clients. It's like if it's a negative voice in your head, that's not really who you are. If it's a loving voice and kind, that is who you really are, because I believe that we are all made of love and we are love. And so that's what that voice will talk nicely to you and say, yes, okay, sure, you could use some more improvement. I mean, we can all use to improve in some respects in some parts of ourselves. I think, or maybe it was, well, I guess even AmondaRose, you can, because you're both kind of touching on this, these negative voices. So what if, though, that let's say, how do you distinguish, and we're running out of time here quickly. Okay, how do you distinguish between maybe outside feedback that distracts you, that might distract you from your authentic path, or maybe someone who's giving you criticism as opposed to constructive criticism? How do you handle that?
I'll talk on that for a minute.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm really super clear on with my clients is that always ask them, how does that feel to you? Because many times, if you could put a presentation out there and ask for feedback, you're going to get a zillion different opinions about it. If you present in front of your friends just to try something, you're going to get a zillion different experiences, and it might be different than what your coach tells you. And so it's really important to feel inside of yourself, how does that feel? Does it feel true to you? Or does it feel like it's possibly true, part of it true, or does it not feel true at all? And when you do that, you really will know whether something feels aligned. So it's important to kind of ground, put your feet on the ground before you do that, maybe touch your heart, and then ask yourself, how does this feel to me? No, that truth doesn't feel legitimate to me. Or maybe with this part about that. Or maybe I don't even know how to do what they said will come up for you, but really trust your own guidance on the information that you receive. Because many times people will say, including myself, I listened to a coach and I thought this was the way to do it. And I didn't trust my own heart, and it didn't work out the way that I thought it was because I didn't trust my own.
Yeah, that's so good. All right, well, we've got about 1 minute left. So I'm going to go around the room here and have each of you just share one quick, one sentence or something, one last tip that you want to leave our audience with today. Michelle, how about you?
Sure. How about a super quick journaling prompt? What I'm known for now as a communicator, what I would like to be known for. And let that set up your year.
I love that. Renee, how about you?
This also prompt, I feel most confident when.
That's cool. I like that. AmondaRose, what last?
When we're not confident in communicating something to somebody, ask them this important question. Are you open to? So when you ask somebody, are you open to something, they're more likely to say yes, and they're more likely to be able to hear what you have to say. So it takes the pressure off of you for communicating something, and then they can choose. So it allows you to be more confident in dealing with other people.
All right, awesome. And I know, Kristie, I'm going to let your video today speak for yourself, because I know you've been having some issues. So I want to thank everyone for being on the panel. Thank everyone out in their digital audience for joining us today. Hopefully you receive some amazing benefits, and we will see you next week.